Hello guys, this is Indian Medico, and in this video we'll see a review of electrolyte abnormalities. First let us see about hyperkalemia. The normal potassium level is 3.5 to 5 milliequivalent per liter. What are the causes of hyperkalemia? It can be due to increased load or decreased excretion of potassium. Increased load can occur in exogenous potassium ingestion, blood transfusion, tissue injury like rhabdomyolysis and burns, acidosis, and hypoaldosteronism. Decreased excretion of potassium can occur in renal failure and potassium sparing diuretics. Acidosis can lead to hyperkalemia. Now let us see about pseudo-hyperkalemia. It is elevated potassium in a blood sample due to hemolysis. What are the signs and symptoms of hyperkalemia? Muscle weakness, paresthesias, areflexia, bradycardia, and respiratory failure. Symptoms are usually seen when potassium level is more than 6.5 milliequivalent per liter. What are the ECG findings in a case of hyperkalemia? There will be peaked T waves, prolonged PR interval, widening of QRS, and P wave loss. This picture shows the ECG findings in a case of hyperkalemia. As you can see, there is peaked T wave, widened QRS complex, and flattening of P waves. Now let us see about the treatment of hyperkalemia. We have to protect cells by increasing membrane threshold. We can give calcium gluconate for this purpose, which is cardioprotective. We have to drive potassium into cells. For this we can use sodium bicarbonate and insulin with glucose. We have to excrete potassium. For this we can use K-Xlate, which binds potassium, furosemide, and dialysis can be done. A mnemonic to remember the treatment of hyperkalemia is C big K drop, that is calcium gluconate, bicarbonate, insulin, glucose, K-Xlate, and dialysis. Now let us see about hypokalemia. What are the causes of hypokalemia? It can be due to vomiting, diarrhea, nasogastric tube suction, diuretic use like thiazides, insulin, amphotericin, and hypomagnesemia. Alkalosis can cause hypokalemia. Remember, acidosis will lead to hyperkalemia and alkalosis will lead to hypokalemia. What are the signs and symptoms of hypokalemia? Nausea and vomiting, weakness, paresthesias, hyporeflexia, ileus, digoxin sensitivity, and ventricular tachycardia. Now let us see about the ECG findings in a case of hypokalemia. There will be T wave depression, U waves, prolonged QT, and ST depression. This picture shows the ECG findings in a case of hypokalemia. As you can see, there are flattened T waves, there are U waves, there is prolonged QT interval, and ST depression. Now let us see about the treatment of hypokalemia. For acute severe cases, we can give intravenous potassium chloride. For mild or chronic cases, we can give oral potassium chloride supplementation or potassium rich foods. We can give potassium sparing diuretics like spironolactone. We have to check serum magnesium. This is because hypomagnesemia can precipitate hypokalemia. Now let us see about intravenous potassium chloride. An important adverse drug reaction is burning sensation at intravenous site through which it is being administered. This can be avoided by slow infusion, usually not more than 10 milliequivalent per hour. Now let us see about hypercalcemia. The normal calcium level is between 8.5 to 10.5 milligram per deciliter. Now let us see about the causes of hypercalcemia. They can be remembered by the mnemonic chimpanzees, calcium supplementation, hyperparathyroidism, iatrogenic like thiazide diuretics, milk alkali syndrome, Paget disease, Addison disease, neoplasms, Zollinger-Ellison syndrome, which can be seen in men 1, excess vitamin A, excess vitamin D, and sarcoidosis. Now let us see about the symptoms of hypercalcemia. They can be remembered by the mnemonic stones, bones, abdominal groans, and psychiatric overtones. Stones refers to kidney stones. Bones mean bone pain. Abdominal groans refer to abdominal pain, nausea and constipation, and psychiatric overtones refer to confusion, concentration and fatigue seen in hypercalcemia. Now let us see about the ECG findings in a case of hypercalcemia. There will be prolonged PR interval and short QT interval. This picture shows a normal ECG. This is the normal QT interval. In case of hypercalcemia, the QT interval will be short. How do you treat a case of hypercalcemia? We have to give IV hydration and loop diuretics like furosemide. For refractory cases, we can give calcitonin, pamidronate, etidronate, glucocorticoids, pligamycin and dialysis. Now let us see about hypocalcemia. First let us see about the causes of hypocalcemia. Renal failure, vitamin D deficiency, pancreatitis, diuretics, hypomagnesemia and parathyroidectomy can lead to hypocalcemia. Now let us see about pseudo-hypocalcemia. It can occur due to hypoalbuminemia. In this case, true calcium level is calculated using the formula 0.8 into normal albumin level, that is 4 minus patient's plasma albumin level plus patient's serum calcium level. What are the signs and symptoms of hypocalcemia? There will be Trousseau sign, which is carpal spasm with arterial occlusion using a BP cuff. Swostek sign, which is facial spasm with tapping of the facial nerve. Other signs and symptoms include tetany, seizures, perioral paresthesias, altered mental status, fatigue, weakness, ECG changes, abdominal cramping and convulsions. What are the ECG findings in a case of hypocalcemia? There will be prolonged QT interval. This picture shows normal QT interval. This picture shows QT interval in a case of hypocalcemia. As you can see, the QT interval is prolonged. Remember, in hypercalcemia, there will be short QT interval. How do you treat a case of hypocalcemia? For acute cases, we can give IV calcium gluconate. For chronic cases, we can give vitamin D with oral calcium tablets. Now let us see about hypernatremia. The normal sodium level is between 135 to 145 milliequivalent per liter. What are the causes of hypernatremia? The causes of hypernatremia can be divided into hypovolemic hypernatremia, hypervolemic hypernatremia and isovolemic hypernatremia. Hypovolemic hypernatremia can occur due to decreased oral intake of water secondary to illness or altered mental status. Increased water loss such as diuresis, vomiting, diarrhea and hyperaldosteronism. Hypervolemic hypernatremia can occur due to hypertonic fluid administration, excess ingestion of salt, Cushing syndrome and Conn syndrome. Isovolemic hypernatremia can occur due to diabetes insipidus and skin loss. How do you calculate water deficit in hypernatremia? It is calculated by the formula 0.6 into weight in kilogram into measured sodium divided by normal sodium, which is 140 minus 1. What are the signs and symptoms of hypernatremia? Seizure, coma, ataxia, lethargy, irritability, spasticity and edema. Now let us see about the treatment of hypernatremia. For hypovolemic hypernatremia, we have to replace fluid with isotonic saline. We have to replace half of water deficit in first 24 hours and another half over the next 48 to 72 hours. For hypervolemic hypernatremia, we have to give loop diuretics to increase sodium excretion and fluid replacement with half, that is 0.45% normal saline. For isovolemic hypernatremia, we have to do fluid replacement with half NS. Half of the water deficit should be corrected in first 24 hours and the other half over next 48 to 72 hours. If patient has central diabetes insipidus, we have to give vasopressin. Rapid correction of hypernatremia can lead to cerebral edema. So, the maximum rate at which plasma osmolality can be corrected is 2 milliosmol per kilogram per hour, and the maximum rate at which sodium concentration can be corrected is 1 milliequivalent per liter per hour. Now let us see about hyponatremia. The causes of hyponatremia can be divided into hypovolemic hyponatremia, isovolemic hyponatremia, and hypervolemic hyponatremia. Hypovolemic hyponatremia can be caused due to hypoaldosteronism, diuretics, burns, vomiting, diarrhea, pancreatitis, and urinary tract obstruction. Isovolemic hyponatremia can be caused due to syndrome of inappropriate ADH secretion, hypothyroidism, polydipsia, tea and toast diet, and cancer. Hypervolemic hyponatremia can be caused due to cirrhosis, congestive heart failure, renal failure, and nephrotic syndrome. Now let us see about pseudohyponatremia. In this case, there is no true sodium deficit but appears to be because the serum is occupied by lipids or protein. In factitious hyponatremia, normal total body sodium is there, but there is decreased serum sodium because of an osmotic flow of water into serum secondary to excess glucose or mannitol in the serum. How do you calculate serum osmolality? It is calculated by the formula 2 times sodium concentration plus blood urea nitrogen divided by 2.8 plus glucose concentration divided by 18. Now let us see about evaluation of a case of hyponatremia. First we have to check for serum osmolality. If it is between 280 to 290 milliosmol per kilogram, that is if there is normal serum osmolality, it is pseudohyponatremia. If it is less than 280 milliosmol per kilogram, we have to evaluate volume status. If it is more than 295 milliosmol per kilogram, it is factitious hyponatremia. Now coming to evaluation of volume status, if there is hypovolemia, we have to check urinary sodium. If the urinary sodium is low, it is water intoxication, and if the urinary sodium is high, it can be due to syndrome of inappropriate ADH secretion, diuretic use, or hypothyroidism. In hypovolemia, if the urinary sodium is low, it is due to extrarenal loss. If the urinary sodium is high, it is due to renal loss. In hypervolemia, if the urinary sodium is low, it is due to cirrhosis, congestive heart failure, or nephrotic syndrome. If the urinary sodium is high, hyponatremia is due to renal failure. Now let us see about the treatment of hyponatremia. First let us see about the signs and symptoms. It can cause seizure, coma, lethargy, weakness, nausea and vomiting, ileus, and altered mental status. Coming to the treatment of hyponatremia, for hypotonic hypovolemic hyponatremia, we have to correct the underlying disorder and fluid resuscitation with intravenous normal saline should be done. For hypotonic hypervolemic hyponatremia, we have to do fluid resuscitation and diuretics like furosemide. For hypotonic isovolemic hyponatremia, we have to treat the underlying cause and fluid resuscitation. The maximum speed at which hyponatremia can be corrected is 1 milliequivalent per hour. If sodium is corrected too quickly, it can lead to central pontine myelinosis. Now let us see about hyperphosphatemia. The normal phosphate level is 2.5 to 4.5 milligram per deciliter. What are the causes of hyperphosphatemia? The most common cause is iatrogenic. Other causes include hypoparathyroidism, hypocalcemia, renal failure, rhabdomyolysis, and tumor lysis. What are the signs and symptoms of hyperphosphatemia? Heart block, ectopic soft tissue calcification. How do you treat a case of hyperphosphatemia? Aluminum hydroxide, sevelamer hydrochloride, calcium acetate, lanthanum carbonate, insulin and glucose, and in severe cases we have to do dialysis. Now let us see about hypophosphatemia. What are the causes of hypophosphatemia? Hyperparathyroidism, diuresis, decreased oral intake, renal tubular acidosis, hypokalemia, hypomagnesemia, acetazolamide, glucose and insulin can lead to hypophosphatemia. What are the signs and symptoms of hypophosphatemia? Proximal muscle weakness, ataxia, rhabdomyolysis, paresthesias, hemolytic anemia, and seizure. How do you treat a case of hypophosphatemia? Potassium phosphate or sodium phosphate supplementation can be given. Now let us see about hypermagnesemia. The normal magnesium level is 1.5 to 2.5 milliequivalent per liter. The causes of hypermagnesemia are iatrogenic, renal failure and tumor lysis. Now let us see about the signs and symptoms of hypermagnesemia: weakness, fatigue, reduced deep tendon reflexes, hypotension, paresthesias, coma and decreased respirations. How do you treat a case of hypermagnesemia? We can give calcium gluconate and we have to do dialysis in refractory cases. Now let us see about hypomagnesemia. The causes of hypomagnesemia are malabsorption, diarrhea, vomiting, nasogastric tube suction, alcoholic patients, diuresis, insulin and glucose administration, short bowel syndrome, total parental nutrition, hypercalcemia, hypokalemia or hypocalciuria can also induce hypomagnesemia. Now let us see about the signs and symptoms of hypomagnesemia: weakness, hyperreflexia, seizure, altered mental status, torsade de point, atrial fibrillation, hypokalemia and hypocalcemia, which are refractory to replacement. Now let us see about the ECG changes in a case of hypomagnesemia. There will be prolonged QT and PR intervals and flattened T waves. We may see torsade de points in case of hypomagnesemia. How do you treat a case of hypomagnesemia? We have to give intravenous magnesium sulfate. Remember, hypomagnesemia is associated with hypokalemia and hypocalcemia. This is because if magnesium is low, hypokalemia and hypocalcemia become refractory to treatment. This picture shows ECG findings in a case of torsade de points. It looks like a party steamer like this. This is how you identify a case of torsade de points which is seen in hypomagnesemia. If you have any suggestions, please let me know in the comment section. For more such videos, please check out my playlists. If you like my videos, kindly subscribe. Your subscription will encourage me to make more videos. Thank you.